Hey y'all, it's Coach in the Fight here. Got Stacy with me. Say hi, Stacy.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, I just was listening to the Third Testament, I guess, like I always do. And a verse jumped out at me, and I wanted to do a class, and I thought Stacy might want to participate in this class because it's talking about hunger. What do you know about hunger and the spiritual walk, Stacy?
I know a lot about it. You can tell by my weight.
So you experienced a few times you was hungry during your spiritual journey, doing this walk, huh?
Yeah, a few times.
A few times. And then we do a search one time in Deuteronomy where it talked about, being hungry and how he uses it to prove you.
Yeah, we did, and that's what it says.
Well, I know you're busy because we do Sabbath day prep, so I just want to show you this part, what it says here, and then I may go back and look at Deuteronomy in a second. But look right here. It says in verse 29, it says, I have withhold your daily bread to prove that he who has faith is like the birds that do not worry about tomorrow. What do you think about that?
Well, you always go back to the scripture where it says that he provides for the birds, and we are so much more important to him than the fowl that that he will provide for us. So.
Yeah, and then he's saying here that he says that he withholds your daily bread. Don't that mean that's saying he made you hungry, right?
Yeah, it lines up with Deuteronomy.
He made you hungry. He even uses the word prove. To prove, but it says to prove that he who has faith is like the birds that do not worry about tomorrow. He says, they behold the dawn appear as a symbol of my presence. Now, we learned that in a different section, how the morning is supposed to play out in our life and how we're supposed to greet the morning and such. But he talks about how the birds are doing so. He said that the birds, they behold the dawn appear as a symbol of my presence, and when they awaken, their first act is to elevate their melodies as an indication of thanks and of proof of their faith. So how does this relate to hunger?
Well, I think I'm asking, is it saying that as with the birds, the first thing they do is they wake up singing, giving praise as not as as evidence of their proof belief in the Most High.
And yeah, belief, and they're thanking him, and plus they're showing that they are thankful for what he's provided for them, yesterday, and are not worried about what he's going to provide for them today. So they just wake up and do their due honor towards him and let him worry about their daily bread, and they get it. Well, that's the same with us. We live in this transition period where we're trying to make the transition from Babylon to a holy lifestyle. So we're tempted to go to the store and buy stuff, but if we can somehow rely on him, he will provide us with the food that we need.
Yeah. I understand it. I do understand that that part about he withholds it. Is it saying that he withholds this from us to see if we are faithful or not?
Well, to prove your faith, let me go off script for a second. But it's like one of those things where you're expecting fully to, when you come and pick up the Bible and do what it says, you expect for everything to go great. Well, as we know, in order to reach heaven or to reach spiritualization, you have to go through something, and hunger is one of the things that we all seem like we all go through. Everybody is on this walk has to go through hunger and be hungry for. Even our friend up the street that we're ministering to, he's in a hunger situation too.
Yeah, and I never would have thought hunger was so powerful, but it's probably one of the most powerful things other than, losing a child or something that you could probably go through.
What? What? Losing a child? You've been real hungry, ain't you?
I've been real hungry, yeah.
And it sounds like to me, and I understand I am making up stuff, but it sounds like to me that you will continue to go through hunger until you realize that
it is him who provides it.
He will provide it. He will provide it. What does Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John say? What is, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all of his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added unto you?
Yes. Give us this day our daily bread. It always bothered me, not bother me, that's the wrong word, but I always think about what it says, give us this day daily bread. So are we just asking for one day at a time?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's what the birds do. The birds aren't storing up stuff. I mean, the squirrels are. But, he talks about the birds and how they're not really storing up anything. All right, let's take a look over here in Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2 and 4. He says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, and to prove thee, and to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna." So he's saying here that he used hunger to prove you, to see if you keep his commandments. So how many people out there, as soon as they got hungry, they dropped his commandments and ran?
There's been a time or two that I've wanted to.
Well, it's being honest here, y'all. So, and the reason why we're doing this class is because we're not the only one. This scripture says that everybody who tries to go through this spiritual walk is going to suffer hunger. Now, think about it for a minute as we get ready to wrap this up. All of the people who in life are not suffering hunger, they have all of the food they want. I mean, we live in an obese country where 80% of America is overweight, and a lot of us are obese. None of us are missing any meals whatsoever. Well, we still got to go through that, don't we?
Yeah, that's what it says.
So all of humanity is going to be hungry for a while? What do you think about that?
Well, those who wants to be set apart, yeah, they will have to go through hunger. Those who don't probably will not. And say it's something that will definitely prove you and see if you really want to or not. It will definitely have you thinking.
And the thing is, just don't give up. Just don't think that something's wrong just because somebody tells you, well, I've never seen the children of the righteous begging bread. Well, that's the children of the righteous. I've seen the righteous beg bread a lot of times.